Well, from a surfing pig to outer space to the slopes, it really seems that GoPros are being used absolutely everywhere all around the world. But now there's a new Chinese competitor, Xiaomi, that could pose a big threat. So CNBC's Eunice Yoon is here to show us just how the action cameras stack up. You've got both of them here.
I do.
We also tested them out yesterday.
Yes, that's right. And, you know, most people know Xiaomi as the Chinese company that's going after Apple. But now it is going after GoPro with this. This is a Xiaomi E. And the specs are actually better than the GoPro.
A lot better, by the way.
It's a lot better. But the price is what's amazing. It's only $64. It's half the price of a Hero. And when you take a look at the video, you know, they look pretty similar. I mean, right over there.
Okay, so that's the GoPro, that's the Xiaomi.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Well, that's to the layman's eye. No, I'm kidding. But a lot of other GoPro fans would say that GoPro is still better in terms of the video. But I would say that Xiaomi is only seeing its first generation, so
right. And Xiaomi is a 16-megapixel camera. It's a 5-megapixel camera for the GoPro, at least the entry level, right? And as you say, it's about half the price of the Xiaomi. But the thing is, there's a lot of brand loyalty for the GoPro here in the United States. So I just wonder how much Xiaomi will be able to gain traction from a market share perspective here in the face of all those like fanboys and fangirls who just love the GoPro.
Well, I think that the people who would buy the GoPro are going to be people who love Apple, but Xiaomi is more for the Android-based phones, right? And also right now, Xiaomi is used only in China. It's sold only in China, but it is worth watching its global ambitions because of the fact that we have seen a lot of action cameras made by Chinese companies, but they haven't really been able to take off that well, and that's because as much as they get the hardware right, they don't really get the software right. And so they haven't been able to integrate the technology as well, except now Xiaomi does have the integration of the technology, and it has a great app. So there are a lot of people who still use Android phones.
That's very true, particularly
all
in
over
Asia,
the world.
Particularly in Asia. And it might also make it hard for the international ambition plans. You know,
for GoPro.
Expanding particularly into China for GoPro might be hard if Xiaomi's already got a following over there.
That's right, that's right. And GoPro obviously does well in a lot of different markets, but they have been starting to sell more and more in China. They are popular in China, but with a certain segment of the population, but there are so many other options out there, and Xiaomi has a loyal following just as much as GoPro has a loyal following over here.
And GoPro shares are up about 85% since its IPO here last June. Thank you so much for that.
This is the Xiaomi E, and in terms of specs, it actually is better than the GoPro, and it is half the price at only $64. Now, you were running the video before.
Yeah.
The video looks pretty similar. When I talk to a lot of super geeky friends of mine, they'll say, okay, well, actually, the video for the GoPro is better. But actually, when you think about it, this is the first generation. So this is the first generation Xiaomi E. And then this is the Hero, right, for GoPro. And the other thing is that right now the E is only sold in China, but it's really worth watching what they do globally because you know, we've seen a lot of Chinese iterations of kind of a GoPro rival come up, and they're never very good because they don't know how to integrate the technology. Xiaomi has been able to integrate the technology really well. The app works wonderfully with Android phones, and most of the phones out there are Android. So
is it only a matter of time because Xiaomi's CEO has talked about expanding, particularly into emerging markets, not necessarily U.S., but places like Brazil, with the phone. So isn't it just sort of, it's a matter of months, maybe a year before that thing goes all around the world?
That's possible. I mean, I think it could even be sooner. And the fact is that in China, it does really well. It gets a lot of high marks. People, you know, GoPro is also going into China, but they've just started distribution. But the Xiaomi E does really well, and it is very cheap. And so people have a lot of pride about it, and it's just doing really well. I see it as a real competitor to GoPro. And in China, and if it goes globally, then it could potentially be a competitor for GoPro there too.
That video, I have to say, if we could put it up one more time, it's really close. I mean, you really almost cannot tell the difference between the left side and the right side. You cannot tell.
But, you know, is it a ubiquitous product? Is GoPro like Jell-O and Q-tips and those things? That's really what it comes down to. If you believe, I still believe the brand will win but the stock has been awful. I think against $40, you stay with the stock, but I've been wrong now since October.
Or is it like Polaroid?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think this Xiaomi has a shot in a market like the U.S. I mean, think about it. You know, GoPros are made in China. We just don't want a Chinese brand. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And you know, I mean, when you think about it, so, you know, Americans have bought into this GoPro brand, and she talks about, it's a great point about integrating it with the software. It's never really going to work here. You know, so
I don't know. I mean, because I think GoPro is going to hit the same people who buy the iPhone. So if you like the iPhone and you like GoPro and they integrate really, really well together, you're going to love it. You're going to buy the GoPro. But if you want something that's a little bit cheaper and something that's competitive, and after a couple of iterations and generations of this one, of the Xiaomi E, I think it could sell for the rest of the people who might not be able to afford an iPhone or don't like the iPhone ecosystem as much.